You think you know who the villain is, the narcissist, the manipulator, the cold, calculating heart. You have learned to spot the red flags. You have learned to protect your energy. You see yourself as the healer, the giver, the light, the empath. But what if I told you that the greatest danger is not the monster you see in others? What if it's the one you refuse to see in yourself? What if your empathy, your greatest gift, could become your most dangerous weapon? There is a dark side to empathy, a truth so uncomfortable, so deeply buried, that most self-help gurus will never speak its name. It is the quiet satisfaction you feel when you fix someone, the subtle sense of superiority that comes from understanding their pain so well, the way you use your perception to become indispensable, to make others need you, to feel powerful in your own quiet way. You call it caring, you call it helping, you call it love. Carl Jung, a man who stared into the abyss of the human soul, had a different name for it. He would call it a subtle and far more dangerous form of narcissism. This is not a film to make you feel good. This is a film to make you conscious. Jung discovered a terrifying psychological pattern. Under the right conditions, the empath does not just become a victim of the narcissist. They can unconsciously become a different, more insidious kind of narcissist themselves. Today, we are going to explore the shadow of the lightworker. We will deconstruct the 3 hidden paths that led a healer to become a tyrant. And we will reveal Jung's one and only path to true, authentic, non-toxic empathy. To understand this dark transformation, you must understand the core wound of the empath. Most empaths develop their gift not in a loving, safe environment, but as a survival mechanism in a chaotic childhood. They learn to read the emotional states of their parents, to anticipate danger, to predict anger, to manage moods, to keep the peace. Empathy became their radar, their shield. But it also created a deep, unconscious belief that is the source of all their future suffering. My safety and my worth depend on my ability to manage other people's feelings. This belief is the seed of the empath's shadow. It is a profound, tragic confusion between loving and controlling. The unawakened empath doesn't just want to help people. They need to help people to feel safe, to feel valuable, to feel real. And this need, this hunger, if left unconscious, can curdle into a subtle form of tyranny. This happens in 3 distinct stages, 3 masks the good empath wears, often without ever realizing it. The first and most common mask is the savior complex. This is the most socially acceptable, and therefore most dangerous, form of the empath's shadow. The savior is drawn, like a moth to a flame, to broken people, the addict, the victim, the lost soul. The conscious story the empath tells themselves is noble and pure. I can heal them. My love will be the one to finally fix them. I see their potential. But Jung would compel us to look deeper, into the unconscious motivation. The savior isn't just trying to heal the other person. They are trying to heal a part of themselves through the other person. They are replaying their own childhood drama. Trying to save the broken partner is a way of unconsciously trying to save the broken, alcoholic, or depressed parent they never could. Their love is not a gift, it is a project. And the other person is not a partner. They are a patient. This dynamic is always doomed to fail for 2 brutal reasons. First, you can never truly save another person. They must choose to save themselves. Any healing that is dependent on you is not healing. It is a leash. Second, and this is the darker truth, a part of the Savior doesn't want the patient to get well. Because if the patient becomes whole, independent and strong, the Savior loses their purpose. They lose their sense of superiority. They lose their source of validation. So the Savior unconsciously sabotages the healing. They create a cycle of crisis and rescue that keeps the other person in a state of perpetual dependence. This isn't love. It is a hostage situation, disguised as care. Jung wrote, "The greatest danger is that one may get stuck in the unconscious and never come back to reality." The reality is, the Savior's help is often a subtle and deeply selfish form of control. The healthy man does not torture others. Generally, it is the tortured who turn into torturers. C.G. Jung. The second, and more insidious mask, is the tyranny of sensitivity. The empath, knowing they feel things more deeply and are more easily wounded, can begin to use their sensitivity as a weapon. They weaponize their own pain to control the behavior of others. You have seen this. You may have even done this. It's the person who says, "I can't go to that party. You know how my social anxiety is," effectively controlling the couple's social life. It's the person who says, "Don't use that tone with me. You're upsetting my energy," using their emotional state to shut down a difficult but necessary conversation. It's the person who says, "I can't be around their negativity. It drains me," subtly branding others as toxic to maintain their own sense of purity. On the surface, these are requests for accommodation. But look deeper. Often, they are non-negotiable demands. The empath's sensitivity becomes the central organizing principle of the relationship. Everyone else must walk on eggshells, constantly monitoring their own behavior, their own words, their own feelings, to avoid triggering the empath. The empath, under the guise of being a fragile victim, has become a silent dictator. They control the environment, the conversations, the very emotional temperature of the room, all without ever having to issue a direct order. This is a profound, unconscious power play. The empath avoids taking responsibility for their own emotional regulation and inner resilience. Instead, they make everyone else responsible for it. Their wound becomes their scepter of power. Jung would see this as a classic shadow projection. The empath, who feels fundamentally powerless in the world, creates a small kingdom where their feelings are law. It is a desperate attempt to gain the control they feel they lack. But it is not strength. It is a tyranny built on the foundation of an unhealed wound. The third mask is the most dangerous. It is the final, corrupted stage of the unintegrated empath, spiritual narcissism. This happens when the empath has a genuine awakening. They do the work. They learn about psychology, about spirituality, about trauma and healing. They develop real insight. But their ego hijacks the process. They begin to see their empathy not as a gift, but as a sign of superiority. I am more evolved than others. I vibrate at a higher frequency. I see the truth while they are still asleep. They start to look down on conscious people with a mixture of pity and contempt. Their conversations become subtle lectures. Their help becomes a performance of their own enlightenment. Jung warned about this specifically. He called it psychological inflation. It is the danger of the ego identifying with a powerful, archetypal energy like that of the healer or the sage. The person no longer has wisdom. They believe they are wisdom. This is the most subtle and dangerous form of narcissism, because it is cloaked in the language of light and healing. The spiritual narcissist is often surrounded by disciples, not friends. They create echo chambers where their wisdom is never challenged. They use psychological and spiritual concepts to justify their behavior and to pathologize anyone who disagrees with them. They are no longer a guide. They have become a guru. And the line between a guru and a cult leader is terrifyingly thin. They have become the very thing they claim to be fighting against: a manipulator, a controller, a narcissist dressed in healer's robes. So you see the path, the slippery slope, from the noble desire to heal to the tyrannical need to control, from the pain of being a victim to the poison of becoming a spiritual perpetrator. The road to hell for the empath is paved with good intentions. The aha moment is this: the opposite of a narcissist is not an empath. The opposite of a narcissist is an integrated individual. And an unawakened empath is just as fragmented, just as controlled by their unconscious wounds, as the narcissist they so often attract. They are two sides of the same broken coin. One is addicted to taking energy. The other is addicted to giving it away. But both are playing a game of unconscious neediness, trying to get from the outside world what they have not yet found inside themselves. So what is the cure? How does an empath become integrated without becoming a monster? Jung's answer is brutal, but it is the only one that works. You must turn your surgical perception inward. You must use the same X-ray vision you use to see others' pain, to see your own. This requires 3 acts of ruthless self-examination. First, question your help. Before you rush to fix someone, pause. Ask yourself, am I helping or am I trying to control? Am I offering support or am I trying to make them need me so I can feel valuable? Does this person actually want my help or am I forcing it upon them to satisfy my own need to be the healer? Learn to offer help without attachment to the outcome. Learn to accept that sometimes the most helpful thing you can do is nothing at all. Second, take radical ownership of your boundaries. Your sensitivity is your responsibility. It is not anyone else's job to manage it for you. This means learning to say no without a long, guilty explanation. It means choosing to leave environments that drain you without needing to label them as toxic to justify your decision. It means building a life that protects your energy instead of demanding the world change for you. It means understanding that your psychological energy is a finite, precious resource, and you must become a ruthless guardian of it. Third, embrace your own darkness. You must acknowledge the part of you that enjoys being the wise one, the part that feels a subtle thrill of power when others are weak and you are strong, the part that can be judgmental, superior, and arrogant. This is your spiritual shadow. You don't kill it. You watch it. You make it conscious. As Jung wrote, I would rather be whole than good. The goal is not to be a perfect, flawless saint. The goal is to be a complete, honest human being. The journey of the empath is the most dangerous hero's journey of our time. It is a path from unconscious victimhood through the powerful temptation of shadowy control to conscious sovereignty. The greatest expression of empathic awakening is not revenge. It is what Jung called conscious compassion, the ability to love without enabling, to help without rescuing, to see clearly without judging harshly. It is the difference between empathic wisdom and empathic tyranny. It means being dangerous to manipulation while remaining a safe harbor for authentic connection. Your empathy is not a weakness. It is a fire. And like any fire, it can be used to warm a home or to burn it to the ground. The choice is yours. Every single day. If this message has challenged you, if it has made you uncomfortable, good. That is where the real work begins. Join the others who are choosing the difficult path of conscious empathy. Go to the comments and make your declaration. A vow of responsibility. Write, I am the healer in the wound. It is a declaration that you are ready to own both your light and your shadow. A commitment to becoming truly whole. Subscribe to the Thinker's Codex. Your real training has just begun.